What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first edition of the Different Less podcast. My name is Juan Felipe Sierra. I've been in the entertainment industry for the past 13 years, and this is...
My name is Daniel, and I am just your usual nerd. I like playing games, I like watching movies, and listening to music.
For our first episode, what do we have today?
So today we're going to be talking a little bit about filming, the filming industry. There's a lot of upcoming films that have to do with the animated and non-animated, but the main question that I have for today is, do we really need reboots for everything that is upcoming? There's so many reboots coming this year. Just thinking about a few from the top of my head. We have Lilo and Stitch. We have How to Train Your Dragon. Right? What is the main idea and where do we stand with that? How do we feel about this? I mean, there's a lot of them coming this year.
Yeah, so reboots, I don't know, it's a tricky subject because I do like reboots in the sense that like it could bring a new perspective, a new shift. It could be like bring new actors, it could have a lot of benefits, but mostly it's kind of like a cash grab situation, which I'm not totally okay with. But like, for example, like the live action version of How to Train Your Dragon, How to Train Your Dragon, I think would be a really cool option. And because...
But why do you feel like it would be a good option to do it again if the first one was so good and all the following ones, right? I think there's 3 movies for the How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah.
They were good. So why do you think there is a need for us to go or for Hollywood to go out and have to do a reboot for it? What's the point of it?
It's basically just a cash grab, dude. It's just literally just to... Okay, so here's the thing. And I was taught this in film when I studied film in Miami, is that like a lot of the times like studios don't want to take risks because like they're not just doing whatever bullshit budgets, they're doing hundreds of millions of dollars of risk, honestly. And so the risk has to pay in any sort of way. So it's difficult because I would love to say like, yeah, just studios should do experimental, and they should do like for example, David Lynch that just passed away. He was a very experimental director. So even though, yes, there are those kinds of directors, it's very difficult to be able to kind of get to that point. So I understand why they tried to do a lot of franchises, and that's why they're so obsessed with franchise, set up a universe. Now Marvel is like, the biggest player, and with Disney it's like everything has to be connected and everything has to be, universe. I don't think that they should, but I understand the monetary reason why they just crank it up.
Right. Do you feel like, I mean, I personally feel like there should be more investment into the area where we have new directors that have fresh ideas rather than doing so many reboots, because again, I understand there is a whole cash grab situation going on right now that we have to keep the studios going, we have to keep the people, we have to pay people, right? It makes sense that we are continuously rebooting, and it keeps people on the jobs to do movies like Toy Story, and then now we have 5 Toy Stories, and we have Shrek again, right? It keeps the studios going, and I understand, right? All of us, right, that grew up watching like Shrek, Toy Story, most likely there's a chance some of us already have kids, and we're looking into going back into it to watch what's the next movies, because those iterations are new for all of us. It may not be as new for us, but it's going to be new, for example, for the kids that now grew up. But I feel like there should be more interest in putting some of those resources into new stuff, like new movies, new ideas, because there are so many directors that have really, really good ideas, but we keep on going back to the reboots, right? Which is the main point of always going back to, why are we repeating a lot of this stuff? And I get it. There is a need to maintain the studio going, right? There's a need, right? Yeah. We all have to make money. We all have to go, but there is so many cool ideas that can develop maybe into a new universe, rather than going back to a series like Toy Story that came, I think, is 1994. That was the first movie that came.
1990, yeah, 4 or 6. No, 4.
I believe it was 1994, which is right now. 1994. I am 30 years old. I was born in 1994, and we're looking literally at a franchise that's been going.
Yeah, the year of our lives. Yeah,
and that's crazy to think, because it's been 30 years and we're still going back to it.
Correct.
Right. Correct. Whereas I want more different stuff, new stuff that carries now. For example, the generation when we have kids, that generation, I want to carry something new.
Yeah.
Right. So I just feel like and then we have that big debate as well that we can discuss is when is it a successful reboot and what's not a successful reboot? Because not only we have so many reboots going on, but there's a lot of shit, a lot of stuff, right?
It's okay. We can curse, bro. We fucking curse. That's all right. I don't mind.
That is successful is not successful, right?
Yeah.
Like, for example, Marvel has been very successful, right? They've been rebooting their stuff for so long. DC has been rebooting their stuff for so long, right? Like, we have had Batman's over the years and the years and the years, and he's not going to stop. We're not going to stop having Batman. We're not going to stop having a Superman. A new Superman is coming.
Yeah.
How do we determine when it's successful or not successful? What do you think? Is it just box office? Is it the rating? Or that the fact that they make more, even though we know that they probably sucks, but they're still going to make more?
I mean, right now that's a bit of like a weird situation because back in the day, like when DVDs and VHS and all of that physical media was very prevalent, that's how they were able to determine if something was successful or not, whether it was like sales not only on ticket sales and the actual like box office,
Right.
or DVD sales, or VHS, Betamax, whatever sells, Blu-rays.
Right.
But now since all of that is gone and it's only on streaming, it's kind of based on how many people see it as a whole. But again, like, we don't know how those numbers are made or those hard numbers are calculated, because I could watch the same movie 6 times. That doesn't mean 6 people watched it.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird situation, but
But
I
do
think
you
success. I think success not only comes from money. I think success is also whether it's awards, whether it's the impact that it could have on the social consciousness of things. Like, for example, Shawshank Redemption
Right.
in the box office was a total fucking failure. It bombed tremendously. Now, a couple years later, everybody was in love with the movie. Now it's one of the greatest movie, if not the greatest movie of all time.
One of the highest.
Yeah, so it depends. It depends. I honestly think that success comes from how the people interact with it and what comes out of it, whether it's like, for example, YouTube media or like video essays or things that can potentially lead into whether it's political change, socio-economic change, like something like Terminator. Because of Terminator, there were a lot of people that actually got into wanting to get into robotics and get into science and get into Jurassic Park. A lot of movies like The Martian actually inspired a lot of it. Interstellar, they actually had to create new models to be able to visualize what a black hole is.
Right.
And now they're using that to actually determine how they look at stars differently. So art is always going hand in hand with science and media and the socioeconomic stuff. I don't know. Like, to me, success is like how much of an impact it can create on somebody.
Right.
Because even the stuff that I've worked on, most of the stuff is just kind of like cool romantic movies, but we don't know if maybe one of those romantic movies really hit somebody and now it's their favorite movie of all time. And you're like, really? That movie? And it's like, but it's, their favorite movie. Or like, they shared it with somebody. Like, I don't know. I have like guilty pleasure movies that are fucking terrible. But I'm like, I had so much fun watching it with this person that I don't care if it's terrible. It's my comfort film. You know what I mean?
I mean, I fully understand that. And I understand the impact that a movie can have overall, right? And science and anything, right? And the development, right? Because a crazy idea comes up in a movie, right? Even if it's an animated film, and then surprisingly, a few years later, we see the same exact thing that was in that film being created, right? Like, for example, the I think it's iRobot, right? With Will Smith, right? Now they're comparing a lot of things that Tesla's doing to that movie.
And
right?
and the, I believe, Japanese and Chinese like new robotics just look eerily human. That is just like,
absolutely
like Ex Machina. Like,
it looks almost like they're copying it, right?
Yeah.
But in terms of what makes a reboot successful, right? I mean, the impact that it has on people, I get it, right? But when the first one was so good and they make a second one that maybe has an impact to our new generation, right? But then it angers everybody from our past, because it tends to happen, right?
Yeah, for sure.
If you think about it, it's historically all the movies that are been coming out has angered some people to some degree, because it's like, all right, we're making a reboot of something that was already very successful back in the day, and we're gonna remake it, and then the remake comes out, and obviously there's people that are gonna absolutely love it, right?
And absolutely hate it too.
And then there's others that absolutely hate it, and obviously the people that it was already fueled by rage, besides saying, you know, I did not need it, right? It shouldn't have been happening. Why do we have another one, right? Those people are continuing to say, but what's the need to continue to do more reboots when we are not liking it? Or like the main issue when we come up to a lot of the movies nowadays, right? When we're rebooting all these movies, but it costs a lot of money. Going back to that topic, is we're rushing our artists, right?
Yeah.
Visual
for sure.
artists are being rushed on consistent basis to ensure that they can deliver the movies. But then you have rushed graphics
products,
and animations, and they just look Yankee. And so then we have these movies that just look terrible.
Yeah, and that's why, like, I don't know, a lot of the discourse online when it comes to like, oh, animators are lazy. It's like, no, dude, the lazy people are the actual people that are not giving them enough resources for them to be able to do things in a more broad sense, in a much more like enriched self. Because like even stuff like She-Hulk or like, you know,
Oh, don't talk about
yeah,
She-Hulk,
yeah.
please.
I'm sorry if you like She-Hulk, and I'm sorry if you like She-Hulk, but it's terrible. But some of the CGI, even when they were putting out episodes, they were redoing some of the previous episodes and just switching them so people wouldn't notice. Or between the trailer and the actual episode, they would switch the animating studio. So stuff like that, like we've all seen like those super janky anime or animation studios that they just kind of like, and it's like, the fuck is that, bro?
I mean, just to make a parenthesis there, actually, The Mandalorian had that. So when they did Luke Skywalker, right, for the deepfake, there was an artist that actually made him outside, and he looked way better. And I believe they hired him for the other season,
Yes.
just so they can, because his work was even better than the one that they were doing. But obviously, again, rushed is not the solution. It's not to bring someone from the outside that makes it better, right? It's give more time to your artist to get it done right. Just give a little extra.
Like I don't know if you ever saw the animation that somebody did of it was like a Japanese Batman.
Yes.
That it was
samurai.
Samurai, but not the samurai, not the movie. It was just like a 3-4 minute animation. That it was kind of like it looked like watercolor.
Okay.
Or ink, like, you know, those old Japanese inks, whatever. It was Batman, Catwoman, and Bane.
Okay.
And it was just a bunch of fucking fight scenes, and it was just up and down, and just and people were like, oh, you know, DC should be making stuff like this. And it's like, dude, it's not about the animators, because a lot of people are like, oh, you see, this animators are so fucking lazy. It's like, no, dude, you don't. That's how I know you don't have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. The animators are not the problem. Is the amount of resources that are not put into them.
Right.
So, like, if you have somebody like people from like Trigger Studio that just released Dandadan, or, you know, oh my God, what's the studio? Studio Bones, or, you know, those major studios that consistently put out great work.
Right.
But the animators are living like shit.
Right.
They're starving. They're chronically like tired. Like some of them sleep at their desks or sleep under. It's like that. Yes, thank you for all the amazing work that you guys have produced, but not to the studio, to the animators. Yes, the studio is the one that pays the animators, but the animators are the one that actually are almost fucking dying on their desks because they need to put out content like that. And that's like overall something that I'm against. And again, you and I are just speculating. We don't know what it is to actually own a studio and have to like kind of have the reins to,
and manage,
to pay and manage, and you know,
it's so much that goes back in the back end. I agree. I understand.
Correct. And we're all bitching and complaining here, but we don't know what that's like. So we also don't know what we're talking about in that part as well.
Well, I mean, you just to give a brief example, right? If we try to, let's say we're running a superstore, right? We think about budget, right?
Yeah.
Let's say we're given a budget. We have to make sure that we have the inventory, and then we are able to pay for the place itself while we're restocking, and everything is being actually taken off the shelves.
Correct.
Right now, similar situation. I'm assuming it works that way, right? You have a studio. You got to pay all the people. You got to pay everything. But at the same time, you got to be making enough revenue.
Yeah.
And if not enough people are watching it, that's where it becomes a big issue, right?
Right. And that's what happens. Even like for example, if people think, for those of you who don't know how the actual economic structure of making movies and entertainment is, which is 100% most of people,
Right.
it's very little people that actually know how to make movies and all that stuff. I that have worked in the entertainment industry, I know a little bit. The amount of money that you see that it's put into a movie, let's say, people say it's $250 million. That's for the actual production. Now, what about distribution? What about copyright licenses? What about, distributing not only to one country but to many countries? The deals that are making with the movie studio,
Right.
the what do you call this? Not the movie studios, the theaters, the stuff that they're doing with other people that are trying to license it. So, for example, stuff like Hulu or VIX or Cine no sé qué mierda.
Right.
Those that also is part of all of that budget that they have set up. So 250 million is for the actual show, for the production of it. So for casting, for all the people that work on it, for music licensing, for music producing, like all of that. But add maybe another 70 or 80 million for distribution, for marketing, for toys, for Happy Meals or whatever, or for things with
Right. Those
with
deals.
all of that.
Additional deals. Correct.
Additional deals. So if a movie spends 250 million plus the 70 million, that's already 320 million, and they make 8 million back, that's nothing. They lost so much money.
Right.
So in order for them to actually make a profit, they would have to go over the 400 million mark.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. Not a lot of movies make that. So that's why, for example, stuff like now Marvel, that like almost every movie is $1 billion plus, they're making a lot of money. Now, stuff like, the Marvels or what was it? Like the that terrible spider? No, Madame Web.
Madame Web. Yeah.
That was just horrendous.
Craven.
That was the one movie that I was like, I hope he does well, because I love Aaron Taylor Johnson, and I thought he looked great for the part. But apparently, I haven't seen it. But I've heard it's pretty caca, bro.
I mean, listen. Let's be honest here for a minute. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson as well, but I think they could have picked a different actor
Really?
for Craven.
Okay.
Craven is such a rugged man.
Yes.
And such a bulky crook, like just the type of person that Craven is in all the comics,
Yeah.
right? Because in all the comics, he's just so rugged, so crazily looking. Like he's just, I don't know. And Aaron Johnson, yeah, he is fit for sure.
Yeah.
he is very.
He
fit.
has the abs for it.
Yeah, and he can definitely. He has a on-screen presence, right? You see him on screen, and you're like, as soon as you see him on screen, you're like, yeah, okay. But he does. I think he lacks a little bit of that ruggedness for the role, right? And also, I just feel like it could have been better, but I feel like it could probably have an issue with a lot of the artists being rushed. Now, I personally have not seen it, but for example, my father watched it, and he was like, "What the shit was that?" He watched it and he was like, "What the shit did I just watch?" And I'm like, "Why were you watching it in the first place?" And he's like, "You know what? I was just bored at home." And I was like, "Let's watch it." Why not? So tell me about it. Why was it not up to your standards? And he's like, "Well, I came in with no expectations and I left with lower expectations than when I entered."
Damn.
And I was like, "Wow."
Dude,
I was like,
damn.
"Was it that bad?" And he was like, "Yeah, it was pretty bad." And I'm like, "But I don't want to say that it was bad until I watched it." Right? Like, for example, Venom. Right? And this is going to that Sony side. Right, that Sony's kind of holding those licenses and not letting Marvel really use those characters. Right. Like Disney's not being able to use those characters like for those other movies, so they're holding those licenses. And then we have Venom. Do you think Venom was good?
Honestly, I haven't watched the whole like 2 or 3 movies. I watched like half of the first one. It didn't really grab me, but I saw a lot of things that I was like, okay, I understand why people like it.
Sure,
I really get it.
correct.
First of all, Tom Hardy, he's a fucking phenomenal actor. In anything he adds a lot of value to it. The other voice, I thought it was good. Actually, I thought he was better than the game.
Right.
And rest in peace, Tony Todd. No hate to him, but I thought like that have like a grumblier like a voice. Like I thought he was tight. And the effects were fine. It's just that some of the dialogue was like they're trying to be funny, and it's like, should it be funny?
They tried hard. They tried really hard.
And that's the thing about comedy. Like if you have to try, you're not making it.
Right. I feel like Yeah, it's a film that's gonna be animated. I mean, not animated, but like, well, yeah, it's gonna have a lot of CGI.
Yeah,
We can't help it. I mean, it's Venom.
It's Venom. Yeah,
Practical effects for Venom is.
we don't have a Lou Ferrigno doing the Hulk,
Yeah.
back in the 70s.
Yeah. So it's gonna be really hard to make a Venom that is convincing and makeup that doesn't look shitty, right?
Right.
So I get that, but when the immersion is broken because the CGI is just kind of shitty,
Yeah.
you're just not fully there. But I know so many people loved it because there's a lot of people that don't necessarily care too much about that. They just they're for the roller coaster that it is.
Right.
Because that's what it is.
Right.
It's 3 movies, a roller coaster of fun for a lot of people, for a lot of fans, right, of Venom. Seeing him on screen, it's already great.
Yeah.
So they're
yeah.
enjoying it. But I don't know. For me personally, I watched the first one and I was like, I don't think I want to watch the rest.
Yeah.
And
plus, like, Woody Harrelson as like
Carnage?
as Cassidy. Yeah, dude.
I was questioning.
He's
Questionable.
bro. It's just that he is such a laid back actor. Then to see him in like, it's like, the fuck is that, bro?
Yeah.
Not that he doesn't have the range. It's just that he's very mellow. It's trying to have like, I don't know, Keanu Reeves as the Joker. It's like,
Yeah.
what?
I mean, listen, we need to reserve a whole episode to talk about poor castings.
Oh,
Because
please,
there has
do it,
been
please. Next episode.
so
Next
many-
episode is gonna be poor castings.
there has been so many poor castings, especially in hero movies,
Oh, yeah.
right? You can think about so many that have been very poor castings, and some of you may agree, some of you may disagree. Some people may absolutely have loved certain characters as,
Oh, yeah.
but we have to talk about it. I mean, there's a we
sure.
have to. But
For sure, for
going back to the whole topic, is they continue to do movies, right? And Sony's maintaining those licenses, and they're releasing stuff that, I mean, first of all, it's not connecting to anything, which it sucks because Kraven, Venom, these are villains from Spider-Man,
Right.
and they're not connecting,
Right.
and that just hurts because you're watching, for example, The Vulture, right? And it was great. I loved the Vulture when Homecoming came out.
Homecoming, yeah.
I absolutely loved the Vulture. He was great. Then we have
Plus,
the
it was
next
Michael
one.
Keaton,
Yeah, absolutely. Then we had the next one was Mysterio was okay-ish for me. It wasn't like the biggest one, but then we
Yeah.
have the third installment where we have the Green Goblin coming back,
And
then
like from all the different
Sandman.
franchises. Yeah.
So Doc Ock coming back, and I was like, wow, like bringing those, and that's kind of tying a little bit back to those reboots, right? We're going back to bringing some of those old stuff into the good, but I feel like it was done well. Like I enjoyed watching
It definitely was a nostalgia bomb where it was like, let's just have as much money as we can by bringing the most amount of people back.
yeah.
And I'm okay with it. Like in that sense, I was like, I almost cried. I was like, yeah, my boy.
I know. The portal opened, and I was like, oh my god,
Bro, when I saw Andrew Garfield, I was like, bro, tight. But when I saw Toby, I was like, my boy, they're bringing back my boy.
Yeah,
you know?
No, and the reaction in the theater was amazing. Everybody was happy in the theater when they came out, when both of them came out.
Both of them, yeah.
And then their interaction that they have was just phenomenal, right?
And
All the interactions in the movie were
Yeah,
phenomenal.
and I think like, especially Jamie Foxx got the best out of that because he got like the chance to flex a lot of his acting muscles that he for sure has.
Oh yeah.
So, for example, like having the conversation with the two different Peters of, you saved me, but I died. So what does that say about me? And for him to actually be cool and to tell, like, it was one of the funniest lines to me. It was that when Spider-Man removes his mask and he just tells him, "Oh, I thought you were black, man." Like, I just saw it to me. It was like, oh, sure, that's the whole point of Spider-Man, that anybody could be.
Right.
But when he just says like, "Damn, dude, I thought you were black," I was like, yes, dude. So,
But see, that's such a great line.
Yeah.
Without trying, it just came out
Correct.
so well that you're just like, oh,
I'm
was good.
I'm
That's
almost
good.
sure. I'm almost sure that was like ad lib by Jamie Foxx.
Probably. And he was great.
Yes.
and if it was ad lib, it was phenomenal.
It was phenomenal. I mean, he's really good at ad libbing in general. Like, there's a lot of parts in Baby Driver that he ad libbed, which that movie's so good. Notwithstanding a few actors, but that movie is tremendous.
That was great.
Huh?
That movie was great.
That movie is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So so there's a lot of things that, going back a little bit to the reboot part, there are things like, I don't know, we've seen reboot after reboot after reboot fail because the people that are making them don't get it.
Okay, yeah.
They don't get why it was magical. They don't get why it connected to so many people. It was just reboot plus agenda. Whether it's Ghostbusters with an all-female cast, or which there's nothing wrong with it. It's just that there should be a reason why.
Didn't they do one with kids?
They do. That one did a lot better.
Yeah.
With one of the Stranger Things kids.
Yeah.
And that one did a lot better. And with Paul Rudd and like that one did a lot better. Why? Because it brought that magic of it back.
But wasn't it the Paul Rudd first that had Chris Hemsworth, and then they made this one
No.
with the kids?
No, so the first one,
hasty on that.
so the Ghostbusters with the female cast, I believe, was in 2015 or 2016. And then the one with the kids was like 2020-ish. So that was
Okay.
But it's kind of like the sequel to the original. This one was a whole, like, the whole female cast was a whole separate, like, an anthology side of that whole thing. But you see, that's a problem also with reboots. It's like, is it a reboot continuing the story, or is it a complete reboot of all the characters are new, is a new setting, or like they can have like different parts of it. Like, for example, they all have to be in New York and they have to fight ghosts and they have to have the car and they have to be in the station or whatever. But so, like, again, to me, like, there are reboots that are fun, but they're reboots, most of them are unnecessary. And you could see the desperation that the studios have to just, please give us a little bit of your money, please, like, we'll give you a little bit of nostalgia for you to just feel like life is good again.
Right. And then that's where we go back to that topic, because they're creating a reboot of Ghostbusters that was phenomenal. It was a great hit back when it came out, and then you get the hopes up for a lot of people are like, you know what, let's see another one, let's see what it is. Then it comes out and we're just like, wow. And then they make another one and you're just like, wow. It's like Jurassic Park, right? Jurassic Park, we had the great ones at the beginning. Then they had a few more installments.
Then they went to 3.
They came
because Jurassic Park 1 and 2 were fine. 3, it was a dumpster fire.
Right. And now we go into the future, right? And then we're redoing more Jurassic Park, right? With the whole park situation where it's actually also a whole park and it goes tits up and everything with Chris Pratt, right?
Yeah, that's Jurassic World.
Jurassic World. But it's derived from Jurassic Park.
Yeah, correct.
So
correct,
as a Jurassic Park fan, what do? You want to see it because you're like, oh, well, it's kind of Jurassic Park.
Yeah,
it's getting you. It's trying to pull you because it's like, all right, Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, come and see it. Because it's kind of the idea that you go to a park to see the dinosaurs, right? Yeah. It's the same.
To see the clone dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, they have they have the same aspects, but they have different stories, and that's perfectly fine. I'm not trying to shit on all reboots, but a lot of reboots just don't hit, bro. They just don't hit with the magic. Like, for example, I'm sure if they would make a reboot of Jaws, they would have the shark going left and right, and you would see the shark the entire time. And that's not the reason why the original Jaws was so powerful.
Sharknado.
I'm sorry, but sometimes Sharknado movies, they're terrible. But sometimes I'm like, I want to see a tornado with a shark literally just flies and bites somebody midair. That was fine. The CGI was terrible. The acting was horrendous. But there were so many parts that I was like, yeah, I fucking get it, bro.
It's one of those movies where you're just like, I am bored. And you're just like, click on it and you're like, yeah, that was bad, but that was not too bad. You know, it's like movies that are bad, but
they're so bad they're good. Yeah, it's called They're So Bad They're Good.
Yeah, it's just... Yeah, Sharknado.
Like, anyways, fucking... Sorry. Yeah, like... ¿Cómo se llama esta? Like, Batman and Robin.
Oh, man.
The one with the... Yeah.
Also the ones with the nipples and the suits.
Yeah, with the screw nipples, bro.
That was George Clooney. Oh, my God.
That was George Clooney and fucking Alicia Silverstone and whatever. Anyways. Yeah. What was one of the dumbest fucking lines?
I don't know.
Everyone... chill. It's like, really?
There were so many.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age. Come on, dude. Sorry, that was a terrible impression, but yeah. But yeah, like yeah. Because even like reboots are not even only in movies. Like we've seen it with we're talking like right before we started filming. We were talking about like Mortal Kombat and different games and stuff like that. Like Mortal Kombat has 3 reboots.
Clarifying right there in the reboot is the universe kind of coming and then they're restarting again,
Yeah.
right, with a whole kind of new story-ish from that reboot. So that's kind of the reboot, not necessarily that is a whole new cast or anything. It's just, they're just kind of redoing everything with the same exact characters, right? Just a few here and there that are new, but
which honestly, like, I don't know, I like when they bring new characters that actually serve a purpose in the story. I don't know how you feel about like the younger characters, like Takeda or Cassie or.
I thought that was going to be the send-off of a lot of old characters.
It was supposed to be.
Genuinely thought we were going to get rid of so many new older characters to bring in newer ones to make it a fresh new
cast of characters.
Yeah. I get some characters are immortal, right? Like we have Scorpion,
Sub-Zero,
we have Johnny Cage,
Raiden, Luke Kang.
Yeah.
I was about to say Luke Cage,
but that's the thing.
Not a different character.
If we think about all these characters are immortal, right? Like they're really good. Then we're never gonna take them off. We're never gonna get over them.
Correct.
Which is what happened in Armageddon. They killed Liu Kang. Well, Liu Kang died in Deception.
No, he died in Deadly Alliance.
Deadly Alliance. Right. Sorry, apologize. And then
get your fucking shit right, bro. Come on. You're embarrassing me in front of the people, bro.
In Armageddon, right? And that could have been the end of Liu Kang.
Yeah.
But no, they brought him back. And and now he transcended into
a god.
Right? So it's like we can't get over these characters.
Yeah.
Because they always keep on bringing them back. And that's the point that we're like, all right, sure, it's great to have new characters, right? It's like the same thing with having new movies. But, some people are really, really close to those characters. They just want to keep on seeing them, right? It's the same thing with Resident Evil, which is a great, phenomenal series, right? We have so many Resident Evils. And they try to do something new with Resident Evil 7, right?
Yeah.
We're going into that first person. We're going to a different direction, but we're keeping Resident Evil. And then they're like, what if we make Resident Evil 1 again? What if we make Resident Evil 2 again? What if we reboot it? And then it came back, and then everybody loved it.
I was about to say, bro. I was about to say.
Well.
Yeah.
They did it really well. It's a great game, right? They remake it with new, I guess they reamp everything about it.
Yeah.
And people loved it. I don't see anything wrong with that because it was done the right way. They spent the money, they optimized everything, and they made it to the point where it was like, wow, it felt like a whole entire different.
It's a new game, yeah. Because even the mechanics, because the original second one, you had to like the thing where you like you can't turn the static camera where you like facing a wall and then you have a zombie right here and you're like, oh my god.
So that is one of those moments where you're like, that was a successful reboot.
Correct.
Because it genuinely made the game from the ground up to make it better. I'll tell you about one that is not very successful that maybe you haven't played, maybe some of you haven't played, which was Dead Rising, right? Dead Rising just came up with a reboot, okay? It's they call it remakes now, right? But it's essentially a remake of the game. But how much do you think you're expecting a lot of changes to make it more playable now? Because the game came out, I believe, in like 2008, 2010-ish, like around there, right? Now we're almost 14 years later, right? Because it came out last year. And you're expecting much more from it. And then you look at it and it's essentially the same game with almost the same exact mechanics that you're just like, all right, but
why?
Why couldn't you just add more to it?
Right?
Like change the mechanic. Let me do something different. Like, in Resident Evil ones, right? Like when you roll and you change the camera and you do all these new things that you're just like, that was worth me doing it.
Which honestly, that's one of those things that, for example, I didn't like about 3. That it's the fact that like you can roll and you can like backflip out of it. It's like, dude, like what the fuck are you doing? You're a police. Like, she's a police officer. I have never seen a cop that in the middle of a situation fucking backflips out of there. Now, granted, I've never seen a zombie or a fucking genetic monster chasing me with a fucking bazooka.
It'll have you doing backflips. I'll tell you that.
But
you'd be so afraid you just pop a backflip and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah. I
just did that.
The train is about to leave me, fucking backflip,
It's like, oh no, the car's behind me.
Yeah.
Lands on the car.
It's fucking Spider-Man, like
superhero landing. On top of the car, you're just like, oop.
But like the thing, and I get it that with 3 it was more action.
Yeah, but you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a new mechanic that wasn't there before.
Right.
And people used it.
Yeah.
Right? And for example, even in the community, for the speedrunning community, that's used like crazy because you're just rolling through it and they're just exploiting it.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that to me just seems so... Which, the whole speedrun thing, I'm like, you're not... At that point, you're not trying to enjoy the game. You're just trying to beat a record that, I'm sorry, but most people don't give a flying fuck about.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, there's
They do, and it's important for them. And if you like it and if you enjoy it, power to you.
it's a whole community, okay? I platinum Tekken 8 in less than 15 hours. I was rushing through that game.
But did you enjoy it?
Absolutely.
Did you enjoy the actual game?
Absolutely.
Or
but I was speedrunning the trophies, not the game.
Oh, but that's different.
I enjoyed the game.
But that's different.
But the trophies, I was trying to get it as fast as I could, and I actually did. And it was an enjoyable game.
But that's the thing. Like, there's a difference between platinuming fast and getting to the end with cheats and with hacks and with a bunch of shit in as little time as possible.
Yeah,
okay?
I mean, they're just cheesing the game. They're not fully enjoying the game. I get that.
Yeah, but and even like they're doing some things that it's like...
But that's the enjoyment of it. Think about it, too. The enjoyment of finishing a game as fast as you can is like, wow, I didn't know I could do that. That probably is where it comes from, though. You're just like, I didn't know I could do that.
I don't know. I
understand there's a story you want to enjoy.
Yeah, bro, because that's the thing. Like, imagine creating an entire story, an entire world with mechanics and with fighting choreography and with voice acting and with, animation and world building and fucking details and everything. And some dude is just like, okay, I'm going to remove the camera and the hitboxes and the invisible walls and just be like, ugh! And it's like, come on, dude, really?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think we can drop that in the description, but I think there is a channel that does the reactions of the actual directors of the games or like developers of the game, and they react to people doing speedruns to their games, and they're like, oh wow, I didn't know that was a bug. I didn't even see that bug. Yeah. And it's so funny because it's like them seeing their game being exploited, and they're just like, wow, I thought we fixed that.
Yeah.
I thought we corrected that. And then it's just somebody comes in and is like, walks through the wall that wasn't supposed to be not walkable.
Right.
And they're just reacting to it like, wow.
Damn.
That's crazy. Yeah. It's great. I mean, listen, I love watching all those reactions, especially when it's a developer watching.
Right.
Like a developer reacting to how people are exploiting their games. I think that's the hit spot.
to each their own. To each their own. If you enjoy it, power to you. I don't enjoy it. I don't see the purpose of it. If you enjoy it, I'm not gonna shit on you. But I think, like, I don't know, it takes the art out of art.
100%,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, I don't know, to me, and this might be a little controversial. I know we're talking about movies and we kind of deviated into games, but I think video games are the greatest section of art. To me, that's the greatest. Why? You have most of the arts combined. So you have
everything.
Film, you have theater, you have writing, you could have poetry, like for example, like in Ghost of Tsushima, that you have haikus, architecture, you have painting, you have everything. And the greatest thing is that it's immersive. You play through the story. You are part of the story. Even games that are sandboxes, that you can create a story, that you can create the world, that, like Minecraft. I've never played Minecraft, and I've never gotten the point of Minecraft, but to see people create games inside Minecraft or movies inside Minecraft with 1x1 squares, it's incredible, dude. That to me is why, like, speedrunning and just being like, fuck this whole thing, like, I just want to get like a dog trying to, like, get to the mailman or to the bone.
But hear me out. Everybody plays the game and enjoys the style of art their way. That's the whole point of it. You make a game.
Yeah, true.
It's an expression of art that is amazing and includes everything that you just mentioned. And everybody plays it different. That's the whole point. And that's the whole thing. You can enjoy it. You can play it long. You can repeat it. There's games that people finish over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, I've done that.
Right?
I've done that. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
And other people are like, why are you finishing the game 6 times? It wasn't enough one time, right? And everybody has their own way to enjoy these games, right?
Right, but it's like, for example, with that example specifically, I've finished The Last of Us probably a good 6 or 7 times.
Right.
Each time I'm like, holy shit, there's something new.
Right.
Holy shit, like, I've never seen this reaction, but it's because I took the time.
Correct.
And I took the like, each time it was more. Like Bloodborne, I finished Bloodborne 4 times, and I finished, most of the Souls series except for 2, because fuck that game.
No. That's the whole point. I finished Elden Ring. I can make a rage compilation of it because I raged so much playing it. Even with you playing, I was raging so bad that I was like, I am done. And you're like, let's do one more time. And I'm like, no, I want to go to sleep because I'm fucking tired and I can't beat this boss.
That's the whole thing about it.
And I finished the game.
Souls game. Yeah.
And as soon as I finished the game, I was like, fuck this game. I am deleting this game. I am not touching this game. You're like, but there's a DLC. And I'm like, I don't give a flying shit that there is a DLC.
I don't know if I finished the DLC.
So,
shit. Sorry.
But that's the thing. Everybody enjoys the game in a different way. Some people want to finish it multiple times. Like, for example, you. Yeah. That's totally fine. Some people enjoy it rushing through it. And some other people just want to play it one time. And I don't want to get it tainted. I finished the game. I can walk away from it. And I can be like, that was a phenomenal game. And I enjoyed it. Red Dead Redemption 1. I finished it one time. I'm never going to have that experience again. And I absolutely loved it. So everybody enjoys the game in a different way.
But imagine trying to watch a movie at like 400 speed. Are you going to get anything out of it?
No, but that's what I'm trying to say. Everybody enjoys it. And that's the whole point of gaming. You can enjoy the game in any way you want it. You can rush through it. You can just speed through it. Or you can just enjoy it. Or you can play it 17 times. It doesn't matter. It's how you enjoy the game.
I guess. But I still
that's what makes them excited. It's like a new game came out. They're like, I'm gonna speed run that game, and that's what gets them going. And then that's what gets their community going. What people watch, people understand it, right? That's just the way it is. God of War came out, and I pre-ordered. As soon as it came out, I'm like locked in.
Yeah, for sure.
Played it one time, and I'm done. Because I don't want the story to be tainted and played again. And I don't know. It was a one-time thing where I enjoyed it, and I was like, I am happy.
I actually play games that I really like. I play them at least twice, especially because of the twists and turns of the story that I'm like, it was from the fucking beginning.
Absolutely.
But again, it's because it takes time and it takes effort. And no, I'm not saying speedrunning doesn't take effort, because it genuinely does. I've seen some stuff that it's like, holy shit.
First of all, you had to find it. You had to find the ways to exploit the game.
Right.
That's
correct.
Probably
correct.
the hardest part.
But it's taking time to not take time.
Sure. I mean, like I said, we can go on over this.
Yeah, we can.
Hours and days.
Yeah,
and like I said, I say that I'm a nerd. I like playing games and everything like that. But I also have tons and tons and tons of games in my library that I'm still exploring, because every world is so different. And I'm enjoying diving a little bit into each game. Sometimes I don't want to finish the game, so I just go into another game because I'm enjoying so much that story that I'm like, I don't want it to end. Because it's the first time experience for a game or for a movie that is so magical. So if we go back for a second into the whole reboot situation, it's like the first time I watched some of these movies, that was a magical moment.
Yeah.
Because it was like, wow. Right? And then you have a second one come out, and if it's a good reboot, then you're just, again, wow. And if it's a bad reboot, you're just like, yeah.
Damn.
Like the Suicide Squad, the first one with the Joker. Terrible.
Horrendous.
But then they came up with a second Suicide, like a different Suicide Squad, right?
With and only Margot Robbie returning. Well, Margot Robbie and...
Will Smith. No.
Huh? No, not Will Smith.
He didn't come back.
The guy that played Rick Flag.
Yeah. That.
And it's the...
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis, thank you.
And it was phenomenal. I absolutely loved it. It was so fun to watch. So my reaction to the first one, I was like, what the... is this?
There's only one scene that I liked from... Well, there's two scenes that I like from the movie. When they're introducing people and Will Smith is like, shoots a gun and he's like, you guys are crazy. I was like, perfect.
Yeah.
And when they're at the bar and they start saying like, bro, we're the bad guys. Nobody gives a fuck about us. Like, come on. And they start drinking. They start talking about...
That was fun.
And seeing Viola Davis threaten people like, I'm going to kill your daughter if you don't do it. I'm going to fucking blow your brains out, piece of shit. And you're like, Jesus.
Yeah.
That was fun. But for the most part, the story was shit. Cara Delevingne was horrendous.
Yeah. Let's not talk about... We don't talk about her.
We don't talk about Bruno. Yeah, we don't talk about Bruno.
But then you have the second one.
Yeah.
Which has so many redeeming qualities because he was so fun.
It was so fun. I'm sorry, but Sylvester Stallone stole the show from that movie. I love Nanaue so much that I've seen like videos of like just him, and he's like, Book, and he's like, yes, Book. He's like, come here, give me a hug.
But you see, that's a reboot that actually was
Successful in work.
successful. That was so good. You're just like, I joined it. I've watched that movie 3 times, right? And every time I'm showing it to somebody, I'm like, here, sit down, let's watch it, right? And then every time I see Peacemaker fighting with Deadshot, I think it's called
Something sport.
Oh yeah, Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. There you go.
Wow. Deadshot is from the first one.
From the
Anyways,
first one, yeah. Which actually, his introduction was kind of fun.
yeah.
When he's like, yeah, you're about to pay me. And he's like, yeah. And then just like, he shoots and just like, and then he just kills him.
So it's fun because then that's a movie that you're just like, that was a good movie to watch.
Yeah.
And it's kind of basically rebooting it because the first one there was no need for making a second one because, I mean, it kind of sucked. Right. I mean, I'm sure people loved it.
Yeah.
Right?
Enough people liked it.
The music was good. But...
Yeah, and enough people liked it that they actually brought back some of the actors. Because the only actors that they brought back is the actors that were like, people who were like, yes.
Right. I mean, Margot Robbie came back on a separate
Viola
movie.
Davis, yeah.
Right? On a separate movie. She's in a whole movie, Birds of Prey.
Yeah, correct.
Right.
I think she produced that one.
Was okay, in my opinion. I watched it.
I thought that they wasted, again, not the actor. The actor is fantastic. The casting of it. Ewan McGregor as Black Mask. I was about to say Scarface as Black Mask. He is such a dramatic thespian that I think that like I don't know. I would have loved somebody that is more like a fucking gangster. Like old school mob gangster.
Sure, I mean, I'm
because
sure,
that's how the character is.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. Then, like I said, we can talk about that when we talk about those bad and good castings, right? Because I can tell you right now, one of my favorite castings is the Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio.
Oh,
phenomenal!
Fuck yeah, dude!
As the Kingpin.
Yeah.
And who would have thought? But he has everything to make the character so good, and he has made it incredible. So.
Even with Echo, even on the series Echo.
So, like I said, we can expand on those. Yeah. But for me, let's just put it out there. Most of the Daredevil cast has been phenomenal.
Almost perfect.
Like genuinely, everybody has been so good. John Berthel as the Punisher. Wow.
God.
Even
his
name escapes my mind right now. The main character, the Matt Murdock.
Charlie Cox.
Charlie Cox. Great.
I actually met Charlie Cox and John Berthel.
Oh wow!
I actually met them. It was okay.
I'm jealous.
Okay, sorry. I'm about to flex. There's gonna be in every episode a portion where I get to flex. I'm sorry. Flex time. Okay, so I went to a convention in Dallas. Again, part of flex time. I know most of the voice actors of the biggest animes, like
right.
And directors and producers and all that. So I was with Kyle Phillips, who's the voice of, if you watch My Hero, he is Kaminari. And Monica Rial, who, if you watch Dragon Ball, she is Bulma. And if you watch My Hero, she is Sue.
My Hero Academia.
Yeah. Jesus, sorry. So I was, after the convention, I was having dinner with them. And from here to like, I don't know. I was about to point to somewhere, but you guys can see it. Sorry. It was probably like 30 from over there. Yeah. It was probably like 30, 45 feet. I see John Berthel, his son, and Charlie Cox, because they were also part of the convention. And I'm talking with them and I'm like, that's fucking Daredevil and Punisher, bro. And they look at them, they're like, oh my God, what should we do? And I was like, bro, I'm not going to say anything. If they come this way, cool. If we get to have an interaction, cool. But I'm not going to be like, oh my God. Which I most likely would have cried and peed a little. It's happened before. So the peed a little, not the crying. The crying hasn't, I almost did once. But anyways. So Charlie Cox was about to go to the bathroom and our table was like on the path towards the bathroom. And...
Intercept.
And immediately, like he looked at me and I looked at him and we just kind of did like he made a face of, I know you know who I am. Let's just leave it at that. So I was like, cool. I just kind of like just did one of those he kind of said, like, after he came back, he was like, "Hey, Misha, like, how you doing?" And that's it. And John Bernthal was there with his son, and he kind of looked at us like, "Does he know this guy?" Like, and I was just kind of like, it's just.
He give you the John Bernthal look, like the
Yeah.
angry look that
It
he
was like,
always has in every.
He was like, yeah. Wait. Yeah. He just kind of looked at me and he kind of like with that face of, "Do I know this guy? How do they know?" And then just kind of like, and just started like finish eating. And I was like, "Oh my god, they looked at me. He looked at me. He has seen me. He acknowledges I'm alive."
Tommy's a good elf. I was seen.
I am seen by Harry Potter. Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, yeah.
Sorry. End of flex time.
So yeah, I mean, that's one of those times where the cast is really good. And like I said, stay tuned for that episode because we will talk about some really good castings
And some really terrible castings too.
and some really poor ones. Yeah.
Again, okay. As an actor and as somebody that has worked on camera and voiceover and stuff like that, I don't want to blast people that do casting. Casting is a tremendously difficult thing.
Sure.
It's tremendously difficult. Sure. Now, there have been times where it's like, we love this actor.
Yeah.
Fuck, we can't get him. We love this other fuck, but it's like, the sixth actor that they've brought in, and it's like, fuck it, we'll just use this guy. Not to the detriment of the actor, but it may not have been click with them at the beginning of who they wanted to have. Even stuff like Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves wasn't the original choice for Neo. Do you know who it was?
No, I don't remember.
Will Smith.
Okay. Wow.
Now looking back at it, it's like,
It would have changed
I
everything.
would have never seen Will Smith having that character. But now it's like, well, we have Keanu Reeves. Great pick. Or,
Yeah, I mean, there's many instances.
there's many instances. So,
Sorry, I just saw. I was reading something today that Helldivers 2 is gonna make a live action.
really?
Right? And one of the actors that got chosen was Chris Pratt. Exactly the face that you just did. A lot of people on the internet was like, but why? So the developer actually went on to disclose why, right? They wanted to cast Chris Pratt. And they're like, we want as many A-listers, as many as we can get, so they can brutally get killed.
Kind of like a Deadpool situation.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. I'm like, get everybody.
Yeah.
Right now.
Get them all. Yeah. You know what that reminds me of? That reminds me of South Park.
Yeah.
Because in South Park, for those of you who don't know, there have been many tremendous actors, like George Clooney, like I believe Jared Leto, like many actors, many A-listers.
A-listers.
Do you know what roles they put him as? They put George Clooney to fucking heave as a dog. So there was a dog in an episode. George Clooney was that dog.
It's great. It's great when that happens because you see, like, you don't expect those things.
Right.
But you're just, imagine Helldivers 2 comes out. Chris Pratt is like one of the main characters and he's like 2 seconds into the movie. It's just, his face is just blah.
Yeah.
Blows up. And you're just like, oh.
You know what I
That's
hope?
it.
You know what I hope? And this is something that I truly, like, I've been like really like, oh my God, we should get this. If they have an actor that voiced the character, kind of like The Last of Us, how they had Ashley Johnson as Ellie's mom, or even Laura Bailey as one of the characters in the background, whatever. Or Troy Baker was in there too. Imagine casting one of the soldiers, or of the four soldiers, four main voices or whatever, as the four voice actors that did them. So Yuri Lowenthal, Robbie Damon, Erica Lindbeck, and I forgot who the other person is. Imagine them as soldiers, and then that to me would be fucking hilarious.
Even if it's 15 seconds of them on screen.
Correct.
Like,
but I would.
They show up and they're like, "Hey," and then just like,
because you could have like, Yuri Lowenthal,
the iconic lines,
right?
One of the iconic, one of those iconic lines. It would be hilarious.
Or have Robbie Damon like, "For democracy," and just like explode, or
throwing a stratagem and just blowing everything up.
Can you imagine having like, okay, this would be hilarious if this happens. Having somebody like Chris Pratt and somebody throws a stratagem and he's like running, like explodes because it falls on them. That would be fucking hilarious.
Or a 500 kg bomb and it's like blows everybody up and it's like everybody was an A-lister and one of them is like, huh, boom. That'd be hilarious.
Hey, Hollywood, cast us for your for that part, okay?
It's there's just so many things to do. So
Yeah, dude.
like I said, we'll expand on that because there is so many.
Yeah.
So many we can talk about in that.
All right. Where can people find you on socials?
Where can they find me?
Yeah, on socials, brother.
Well, they can find me on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
It's Dan Valder.
Dan Valder. Uh-huh.
And that's pretty much it. I am a very private man.
Dang. Ladies, he's a very private man. And he's taken, by the way. So don't get your panties in a bunch. You can find me in most places like Instagram, TikTok, that it just came back. Fucking just came back. It didn't last even like 16 hours. Anyways, you can find me as Juan Fe Sierra Cortez or Juan Fe Sierra. We want to thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. This is the first episode of something that has been on the works for a few months, and I'm really happy that we're gonna be able to do it. When are we gonna shoot the episodes? Oh, sorry, when release the episodes?
Mondays. So on Mondays, stay tuned for the episodes to be coming out. The time,
I believe we said like 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, so
7 p.m. Eastern.
Be able to look at around for that time. So 7 p.m. Eastern. That would be what Pacific time would be.
It would be 4 p.m.
4 p.m. Yeah. So just be on the lookout for those episodes every Monday. So stay tuned. And well, go ahead and subscribe and like, and we'll see you in the next episode then.
Thank you, guys.